What is up, everybody? This is Littlefoot again. I am doing a review of Boy Epic's Love Letter. So, this is only my third video, but I am wanting to do this one because this song does seem to have a bit of a dual purpose, in my opinion. It does appear like it is kind of a clapback to the listener and the industry. Now, I try and do kind of raw emotional reviews. However, this particular song, it's less about that for me and more about the fact that it kind of applies to my day-to-day life and I can validate it. And so, if you like, go ahead and subscribe, drop me a like, even leave me a comment on how you feel it might even apply based on my, personal breakdown and perception of this. But yeah, without further ado, here we go.
Dear user, I think that I'm in love with my abuser. Real doozer, seducer, persecutor, hold the future, real good shooter. Fatal if you don't play great.
So obviously that part he's referring to the industry and the listener. Level my abuser, real doozer, straight shooter, fatal if you don't play great. He's literally saying if you don't do well, listen, if you don't play great, if you don't do these things great, you're not going to get a career. And it's like he's saying that you probably heard those words before, either from the listener or the industry. Um, However, from a personal standpoint, the words prior, I think I'm in love with my abuser, real doozer. How many people out there, like, I mean, just me even, I can validate that. Okay. I've done it. I've been through it. Okay. I go through it on a day-to-day basis, even. Um, if you have friends, if you have relationships, family, coworkers, whatever, and you are out and about doing whatever you're doing and you do something that is part of your personality, your sense of humor, whatever, and that person doesn't appreciate it. And rather than just saying, well, that wasn't very nice, they cut you down to size and say a rude comment, and make you feel, like that big. And it is a continual habitual pattern. It can really change how you feel. And what is worse is when these are people that you consider close, that you love, that you would hope would not do this, you surround yourself with these people, and if it's a continual thing, you may say that, yeah, I'm in love with my accuser, even if it is continuing to happen, but you're still allowing it to happen. And so for me personally, this song is an applicable song because I've had to almost teach myself that I can't allow those things to happen. I myself, like I believe I mentioned in the last video, I have a prosthetic leg, and I spent the better part of my life being, treated differently, talked about negatively, made fun of, and where it's okay to joke about that, it's not okay to make fun of it. And if somebody does start to make fun of it, I'll cut them off. And if it becomes a habit where they do it more than once or twice, like more than I would appreciate, they're no longer in my life because I took too long rebuilding my confidence and my self-esteem about my leg. And I'm not about to let somebody cut me back down to size about it either. So it's a balance. Like, do you really feel like you need to be allowing that? And it is a toxic situation. Like, so I can validate it. Like, especially for him, he kind of has to. He, as he's saying in this opening line, you kind of are in love with, but then he will then progressively say, as I said, it will go into more detail. You kind of have to put up a boundary at some point. So, all right.
User, persecutor, hold the future, real good shooter. Fatal if you don't play great, that's the rumor. Look, I'm not a rapper in that I don't know what I sound like. New clock is the TikTok corny app shit. You can't lip sync on my dick, no talent, don't dance cause you bad at it. trends.
I'm gonna stop it here because I love this part. This is this to me is just funny because it feels like he is quite literally just saying, I've done everything that I can to make myself known. My music is great. All of this. I write great songs. I do great videos. I do this. And yet these children are out there doing dumb TikTok trends that don't even make sense and are skyrocketing themselves into the stratosphere of fame and making money off of it. And I can 100% validate that for two reasons. One, it's true, that not just the trends on social media where he is struggling to even become a known, like, signed musician. And two, in your day-to-day life, how many times have you attempted to be uh, maybe relevant at work, doing as much as you can, everything you can to succeed and maybe get a raise or a promotion or whatever, and you are completely overlooked by this one person who has done absolutely nothing, and you feel like, what the hell did I do wrong? What, was it something I said or did? Or even in relationships or friendships or anything. It is a very valid statement. Like, how is it that I did all of these positive things in order to gain your approval, and all I got was a negative in return? So it's valid. Like, at what point is it like enough, right?
Here's the infants determine careers when your new hits are whatever TikTok trends. Fuck. This is not a pop song, this is gasoline on the front lawn. My love letter to the industry. Yeah, I made friends, but made enemies. Enemies. This is not a pop song, this is gasoline on the front lawn. My love letter to the industry. Yeah, I made friends, but made enemies. Enemies. I'm a nice guy, try to do right. But you push a nice guy to contemplate suicide.
Well, that part is very difficult for me because I understand it. Um, he talks about, I'm a nice guy, but push a nice guy to contemplate suicide. I've been there. I feel it, and I'm not sure if he's actually referring to having contemplating it or if he's being serious. It's a factual statement. I would love to hear from Boy Epic. Um, if you're out there listening, I would like to talk to you personally. If you just DM me, whatever. I've been there. When you have been cut down to size and you feel like you're doing everything right, and it turns out you're not. And then you start hearing the words that are like the most negative words you could possibly hear. Um, it puts you in a bad place. It will. And so you feel like the nice guy. You feel like the good guy. Like everything's going great in your mind, and then all of a sudden it's one hit after another, and then you get put into this really dark place. And I have been there, so I can respect that, and it's valid. And um, you know, I I don't wish that upon anybody. So if anybody is out there dealing with that, what I highly uh, suggest is ignore them because you're wanted. Uh, that don't listen to people like that. If when it comes to him, obviously he's talking about industry stuff, and listeners abusing it, talking to him negatively. But if you are out there listening and people are talking to you negatively and cutting you down to size and making you feel like doing this, don't. You're not. It's not worth it. Those people, those people are not not worth taking your life for. You are worth living. Those people are crap if they're gonna try and do that. You're better than that. Like you're wanted. So
Yeah, I made friends, but made enemies. Enemies. I'm a nice guy, try to do right. But you push a nice guy to contemplate suicide. Bullet on my desk, staring at me at the comments that you had. What's that you said? Drop 'em, nobody like 'em. Not enough views on that one post, will never sell 'em. Big risk, too cinematic. Damn. Too pot to be alternative, they'll never get.
Well, these are, I imagine, are real comments, based on the quotes, obviously. And it does, I can, I can respect how it would push somebody to make a negative decision, especially somebody who is attempting to do what he is doing so desperately. Um, and they are the purpose of what he is trying to convey is the industry is asking him to change, conform, be something he's not. And if anybody out there who's listening to or watching this, I guess, um, I'm sure you probably dealt with it too. You know, your personality is too loud or, you know, something, and I need it to change. Nobody likes hearing that. And for me, I know how that feels, which is why I got, you know, into the state that I was. You start to hear things, negative things, and you get put into a bad state. So the idea of surrounding yourself with people who lift you up rather than tear you down is extremely important. Um, but then there's also the fact that you have to be the bigger person at the same time. And I feel like that is also what he's trying to convey because these messages or in everyday life, which is where I'm saying it applies, you could surround yourself with these people that lift you up and support you and everything, but you are still going to hear from certain people the negative. And it is how you overcome that and handle it. And you can either let it tear you down and put you back in that dark place, or you can choose to ignore it and move forward and overcome those obstacles because you're better than that. You're not changing. This is who you are and you like it and you love it and you love yourself. And I feel like that is very much what he is trying to convey. Is this is me. So just deal with it.
Sell 'em. Big risk, too cinematic. Damn. Too pot to be alternative, they'll never get it. Yeah. He should be the next Marilyn Manson. Fuck that. Lipstick, look like a bitch. Rather sing about wet ass pussy fucking bitches. Drug dealers, gang shit. We know Billboard like it, but I don't think they'll like this.
So I know that part right there, he was talking about like, you know, Marilyn Manson, Nicki Minaj. I think Nicki Minaj, maybe. I don't know. I don't listen to Nicki Minaj, so I don't like her. I'm just gonna make that very apparent and honest. Um, but he does refer to billboards, that sell, but they don't. He doesn't think they'll like this, and it's basically just a straight, honest, like shot at the industry of like, we know what you want and will sell, but I don't give a crap. This is what I want, even if it doesn't sell. And it is a very that to me is a very powerful statement because I can apply that to myself because if somebody you know, maybe at one point was like, you either need to fix who you are or I can't do this. I can't be around you because I don't like who you are. Um, again, like I said, I'm a narcissist and I know that. I have full control of my narcissism with exception to a few times I know for a fact that I mess up and I have to take control of it and acknowledge it. However, if somebody says, I don't like how you are, you need to change it, I can't change that. And if that is an issue, then you need to leave, not me. I know I have narcissism. I know I have epilepsy. I know I have a prosthetic. I know I do certain things differently than everybody else. And if that is an issue, then you are going to need to excuse yourself from my life because that is who I am and I love me. When I struggle, I come forward and I own it. When I have seizures, it is scary to some people, but I overcome it. When I do things that I do when I try and have fun, I kind of get loud and weird, and not everybody likes that. And so if people don't like it, then you know what is maybe you're not my cup of tea. So I can completely validate. Like if that is not what the industry is looking for in him, then maybe he's not for the industry. Just like for me, if I'm not everybody's cup of tea, then you don't need to hang around with me. You don't need to be in my life. You know, I'm happy being just me with the people I have. So I get it. I can validate it.
Drug dealers, gang shit, we know Billboard like it, but I don't think they'll like this. This is not a pop song, this is gasoline on the front lawn. My love letter to the industry. Yeah, I made friends, but made enemies. Enemies, enemies, enemies. This is not a pop song, this is gasoline on the front lawn. My love letter to the industry. Yeah, I made friends, but made enemies. Enemies, enemies, enemies. Maybe I need help. Just a couple more pills. Not the fun kind, but the ones that fuck your mind. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I need help. Just a couple more pills. Not the fun kind, but the ones that fuck your mind.
So I hate that it does that every damn time. I swear I try to pause it and it's a stupid thing. Like anyway, um, it really does feel like, and the pills part, the way I'm reading it is, uh, it's almost like it's saying at the end for him, in the industry aspect, it's like it's implying like addiction is a necessary aspect, or um, maybe the kind to maybe make him more, uh, I don't even know how to describe it, but like you typically would associate things like addiction or things like that with the industry. And so he says, not, maybe I need pills, not the fun kind, but the kinds that, fuck your mind. And so he could be correlating that with not just the um, common link with industry and abuse that you typically hear, but also the idea of maybe just making him more relatable because of that. Because when you like relate with people, it's like, what is it that you struggle with? It's like, oh, I struggle with depression, so I take pills. And maybe he was trying to convey that. It is very hard. It's a very hard point to relate to on when it comes to that one. However, for me, I do understand that because in your day-to-day life, if things like this start to weigh on you, the prospect of, people constantly critiquing you. And I mean that like in the sense of like work environment, relationships, friends, things like that. I can honestly tell you that when I was younger, I was an alcoholic, so addiction can be something that you lean to. Um, so I can validate, in your day-to-day life, you start to feel heavily um, in need of some form of like crutch to overcome the emotional obstacles in certain situations. And while what I chose was not a healthy one, it is what I chose and I did overcome it. So, for you guys out there who are watching this, that for me, that song hits in a different way. Yes, he is talking about the industry, but it's like he's saying, for those people out there, don't fucking listen to those guys. Like, don't change. You are who you are. Be who you are. Don't let, don't let drugs conform you. Don't let people conform you. You be you because you're beautiful exactly how you are. And don't let them push you to stupid decisions. You're wanted. You're relevant. You're loved. Okay. So it's one of, like I said, it's one of those songs that I feel like is a very applicable song in your day to day. And so, like I said, if you guys have any feedback, go ahead and drop me a line. Boy Epic, if you are out there listening and you would drop me a line, I'd love to hear from you on your opinion on how you even kind of composed the song and what your basis of it was, because I feel like it was sort of like a dual purpose. Like there was sort of like a underlying meaning. Like you were saying, it's not just about the industry, it's about the listener and it's about how aggressive they can push you to make negative decisions. And in life that can happen. Um, and so I appreciate it very much. So yeah, that's it for today. Like, subscribe. Again, like I said, drop me a line, make a suggestion even that I can listen to so I can see how maybe one of your songs might be applicable to my day-to-day life, because that's what I do. Music is my thing. I love it. It's a passion project I'm doing right now. So yeah, I'll talk to you next time, guys.